Back. A very good morning once again. This is Morning at NTV. My name is Romy Busiku. We return with a very pertinent conversation. Voter education. Well, voter education has a tradition that is as long as brief as the conduct of modern elections. Civic education, on the other hand, has antecedents in both the development of ancient democracy and state formation. Education has long been the domain of electoral management authorities. More recently, however, organizations active in educating and mobilizing voters, as well as broader issues of citizenship and democracy, have become more diversified, and that's what we are going to be discussing today. We noticed that in the last election that happened in 2021, we never saw the Electoral Commission coming back on the ground to try to engage the masses in voter education. So we want to talk about the implications of that and a population that is not educated in that regard. Is that why we are seeing people going to the polls and asking for money? Someone goes to a line and they say, if you do not give him money, I'm not entering that line to actually vote. Commercialization of politics, has it become so rife as a result of lack of voter education? What has the Electoral Commission done? They do have 300 million in the budget annually. Yes, for voter education, but we never see them on the ground. So what are the implications of that void being in place? I do have Captain Francis Babu, a senior citizen, who is joining us right here on the set. He comes with a wealth of information on this subject. I'm also joined by two lawyers, that is Amanya, Cohen, and also Ezra Rwashande. Gentlemen, a very good morning and welcome. Indeed. Good morning,
good morning
Captain.
To you. Good morning to you. Are you doing very well with this weather? People are having coughs.
Indeed.
It's very cold.
It's very, very cold nowadays indeed. But I'm equally concerned about you. I heard about the passing of your son.
Oh, thank you very much. By the way, I'd like to thank everybody.
Send my condolences.
I think the Ugandans showed us something I've never seen before.
We did.
When in the church, everybody came. And a lot of these young people were really in support.
Are you faring better now?
Yeah. No, it's not that easy, but you have to get along. Of course, now and then something comes up, but the people of this country really showed us something.
Indeed.
When we lost Cedric.
This country loves you.
Yeah.
So much.
It loves all of us. We should love each other.
Indeed,
in fact, on his epitaph, on his tombstone, we've put the new law, which says, love others like I loved you.
Indeed.
So we need to love each other. I don't know why we're wasting so much time on non-issues.
And we've seen that during the NRM primaries. It's like brothers and sisters were on each other's throats, trying to kill each other, and we were wondering if they get into the wider general election, what is going to be
behavior
happening.
And bad behavior and total indiscipline.
Indeed, and that's why we are here.
We should work out. We should work out together and stop all this nonsense. There's no need.
All that we saw in the NRM primaries, could it be? Is there a correlation to the lack of voter education that we are talking about?
In fact, you're right. I don't know why you're hitting the nail. When we were doing the Constitution, one of the things we wanted, we did not put there explicitly voters' education, but the things we did mention came under voters' education. You were mentioning Electoral Commission. Forget about Electoral Commission.
Indeed.
It's the government of Uganda. And I think people should be very clear. What does the government of Uganda in their educational system want? And one of the things we are trying to go to send kids to school for education doesn't mean mathematics and English. It means a lot of things. When I was young, you went to class and they checked your nails. Are you with me?
Yes.
You went to class and you had to be clean. You went to class and you had to be polite and nice. These are part of behavior. And by the way, everything you're going to talk about today is bad behavior.
Indeed.
And governance and democracy is civic education. Civic rights in civic education. Community participation is civic rights. Social and cohesion of inclusion is civic rights. So increased civic engagement and participation, improved critical thinking and problem solving skills, enhanced community development and social cohesion, better information. Now, before the British came here, we had kingdoms. In the Baganda kingdom, they have one word, which I think is a fantastic word. Yeah? People, when people are called to dig the road, they call it Bulungi Bwansi. Basically, it means the goodness of your country. How do you make your country, attractive? Your behavior is part of Bulungi Bwansi.
Indeed.
Your household, what they do is Bulungi Bwansi. The way you behave towards your leadership is Bulungi Bwansi. All these things are part of our culture. So when you hear these people talking And they're just talking about voters education. Voters education is for somebody who has produced a piece of paper where there are names of those who are standing. Tells you on this day you tick this way, on that day you do this.
Indeed.
That's the voters education. Forget about that. We are talking about behavior, basically. Civic education. What is it that we want in our country? In our constitution we have a part which talks about the responsibility of a citizen. What is your responsibility towards the government? Why are we electing? Technically, all the people of Uganda should sit in parliament. But we are 40 million. We can't. So we choose people to represent us. And we get the best leaders who are going to be the link between us and the government.
Shine a light on those three technical words that they may be able to understand them in tandem. Voter education, civic education, and voter information for our viewers.
Civic education is the larger thing. All these other things are part of civic education. Now, civic education should not wait for elections. It's not real elections. It's about the goodness of our people, the country, the community. What do you want? For example, in our village, we have a road. And we have a local government. Local government doesn't have money. The road is getting spoiled. We get together as a community and do it. That is part of our civic education. Our water, where do we get our drinking water from? All these are part of our civic education. How do we behave to each other? Now, have you ever realized, and I don't know about you, but in our village, there are families. You say in our village there are about 10 families, just for argument's sake. But in that village, there is a family where everybody goes when they have problems. Nobody chose them. You know, human beings have a tendency to respect certain leaders, naturally.
True.
So we must also teach these people that if we tell you to give us a leader, look among yourselves who is a good leader and choose that leader. Among ourselves, we have good young people like these ones.
True. Who
should be leaders. The people where they come from, the families, they know them. So when they stand in that area, without really much ado, we know who is who. If they stood, for example, in an area where you have those families, without even asking government or electoral commission, and say, listen, can you tell us among these people who is a good leader? Now let's go back to our ancestors and our kingdoms and how did they get the leaders those days? How did they get them? What they did, they had a system where they knew families and different clans who have got certain people.
True.
And they would go and get these leaders to be the leaders in the country. Now, not only that, certain clans were given certain responsibilities for the sake of the country. Now, we are sitting here. We have just borrowed a system of government from the West, a model which we don't understand, by the way. I'm sorry to say. You can see how we are behaving in multi-parties. We hate each other. We put on shirts and we think that's alpha and omega. No. We must change our behavior. We must change the way we behave. Now, what brings about, you're talking about money a few minutes ago. Why do people use money? It's fear. When people go for elections and there's competition all over the world, even when you're running,
yes,
you tend to have a little bit of fear. Now, competition in politics, people do or die. They want to go into whatever it is they're standing for. They do all sorts of things. First of all, some of them who have got money try to throw it around. Those ones who don't have money, they abuse each other, or they intimidate, or they blackmail, or they use propaganda. This is all part of bad behavior. And until we change this, and tell our Ugandans, no, this is wrong. I've had NRM saying this and that. NRM should have got those who are misbehaving and told them off straight away.
Indeed.
And they should say, listen, this is not the way to behave. This business of saying you have a very big man with a big tie who is going to decide who is wrong and who is right, those are damage control.
That is Captain Francis.
We need to come out and tell our people, for goodness sake,
indeed,
become a little bit more disciplined.
Thank you so much for that input. Of course, we do have two lawyers here, Ezra Rwashande and also Amanya Cohen. Ezra, would like to talk about this void in civic and voter education. Is it the reason why our democracy has backtracked? Bring us up to speed with that. What we saw around 2016, the government introduced a law, the NGO law. Then this law, we did see them clamping down on so many NGOs within the country. that were actually aligned within that space of voter education, civic education. Do you think this is the reason why we've backtracked as a country when it comes to voter and civic education, because the NGOs in that space were shut down?
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers. I would like to first state it clear that in any nation that doesn't take civic education as a priority, not even time of elections, but at all time, it is a way of creating chaos and apathy.
Yes, Mr. Rwashande.
In such a nation. And the great thing about civic education, it changes ordinary people into the custodian of freedom. So when a nation or a legal regime doesn't take that as a priority and it is preparing an election, then you have to expect unfair election. It is very unfortunate that in our nation or in our country like this one, we have lost most of the values. And the reason why we have lost most of the values, the reason is because we have lost the track. And where we lost the track is where the people in the government sat and decided that we have to make Ugandans not to know what exactly we are doing.
So you think this is deliberate, the lack of voter civic education, to keep people in the dark?
Yes, it is another way of capturing power for long.
How does it work for the government?
How it works for the government? This is number one. We have seen political studies have been struck off from the syllabus. We used to study civic education from primary up to. There have been discussion of even to struck off history. It is in line. We have had the rumor struck of the history.
So the government is scared of a politically aware
exactly of political awareness of the political awareness to the citizens, because the moment the citizens get to know what the politics and civic education is, then they will understand their freedom. And that is one way of making them vulnerable. It is the reason why you see chaos in such elections, where the elections are for one party, but one is killing another. Just one party, it is one family. It is a shame to the whole nation. It is a shame to the one political party that introduced such elections.
How is this threatening Uganda's democratic processes for the future?
Pardon?
How is this affecting Uganda's democratic processes for the future? This whole trend.
Definitely, we have seen numbers going down, starting from the first election in 1996. We had 72% We have seen the number going down. In 2011, we had 57 point something % of the numbers that were registered for the voting. That shows that it has been affecting them from day one, and what brings that is a lack of civic education, and that civic education, it is why I say that it brings chaos and apathy, because someone doesn't know even why he should go and vote, and at the end of it all, people have anger.
I see.
People have anger. They have lost it. The only way to do is to kill each other. The only way to do it is to do something that you don't expect from Ugandans.
I see.
So all that, it is because of lack of education, and for it is a way that has helped this government to deal with such, and then they get all Ugandans who are against such manners, and they call them the hooligans, the what, but in actual sense, they are the ones that have made them vulnerable, and they are fighting back to take the possession that they belong.
So you believe the 8 million people who did not vote in the last election, that's mainly because of this issue we are talking about, lack of vote and civic education?
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Amanya, Cohen, you can pitch in on that one. What are your thoughts on the conversation that we are having here? Uganda's had 6 elections. How come we are still dealing with the same problems? No civic and voter education in that regard. Electoral Commission has a budget of 300 million Ugandan shillings every year. We never see them in the communities. What do you make of all this, and what is the impact on Uganda so far in the last 6 elections?
Thank you very much. For us to be able to understand what we call the geoconferencing of this animal called voter, of course, education in this country, we need to look at what we call the political history of this country from 1972. So from 1972, when you look at there has been a paradigm shift from 1972 up to now. When you look at the different governments that have come on board, how have they managed to come on board? So at then, as Senior was saying, what were the parameters, or what were we using in terms of our voter education? We had, for example, in a long time ago, when we had traditional leaders, how were they conducting elections to have, for example, clan heads, to have leaders at different levels in their kingdoms before we abolished them and now started the governance system, which we, of course, we borrowed. But when we come back home, let me now move away from 1972 and come a little bit closer from 1986 when the government, the National Resistance Movement, took over the government. Remember how the government, National Resistance Movement went to the bush. Some of the issues that took the National Resistance Movement into the bush, some of them were related to the 1980s elections, UPM and others, the DP and UPC. So once we demystify that, we ask ourselves, what is the current role on voter education and civic education?
Well, Article 61 is clear, yes, but we never see them on the ground.
Under Article 61, the government, through its state agencies, that I mean the Electoral Commission, must, and it uses the word shall. You see, when you use the word shall, it does not give you the discretion. You have to do it. But then, there is another trend that we are in, the multi-party dispensation. That political parties, first of all, hold the elections. I have participated in them. I'm a member of Parliament, the flag bearer for Igara West. I've participated in them. So there is that. Now we demystify from the political parties, we go now to the national, where we now meet the Electoral Commission. Now, in the Electoral Commission, they have been given this money. I keep on asking myself, the government has done its part. The government is doing extremely well, because at the end of the day, when you look at, we have countries where they put even, they have not even educated masses about the next elections. In Uganda here, and which we thank the NRM and President Museveni, is that at least there is a plan to have an election. Let's first appreciate that. There is a date that we all know. Campaigns will start from this date and end on this date. There is that. So the voters are already aware. Now, we have certain voters. Of course, in each and every situation, in each and every angle, in every country, it has, the laws have its own way of dealing with certain situations.
Yes, sir.
When you look at Article 61, what does it talk about? The role of Electoral Commission. It does. But does the Electoral Commission do its part? That one, can you blame it on the government? Or it is on the specific individuals who man the Electoral Commission? But again, Electoral Commission is trying to make sure that we get this information. We have different voters. We have the youth. The youth have different perception about this Electoral Commission. Even if you try to share information, we are now on WhatsApp, social media, maybe we can tell them that, look, can we change the mode of how we are disseminating this information? Because if you go to the villages right now and you want to share the information, you can't find people. You will even call the people to come for the same voter and civic education. You will not see them. But go to WhatsApp, go to TikTok. But you see, All of these are some of the I think the emerging jurisprudential issues, because technology is taking over. We have to first accept that.
But we also have to agree that 75% of the people in rural areas are not connected to the grid.
Now that's where I want to come in.
Those are the illiterate voters over there that need to be updated on what is happening in the country. Smartphones, WhatsApp, that is Kampala, and the elite.
I want to tell you this, that even in the villages, you see, that is the notion that in the villages people are not on WhatsApp. But what I can tell you is very simple. It can be twofold. One, we have to make sure that the voters in the village get that information. Even the youth, the elderly, because the elderly do not now conceptualize the issue of technology. But what we need to ask ourselves on the voter turnout, when you look at the statistics, who are the majority? The majority are the youth. I can tell you, I've been in these elections. The majority are the youth. And where are the youth? Because the old men on the day of voting, some of them don't vote. The old women. So we have to make sure we get the information, inseminate it to the local person. But the question is how?
That is Cohen Amanya.
Yes. So as I wind up, Uganda's political issue can already be resolved if we have goodwill from all the parties and all the players. All the players, I mean, me, you, the police, and every person. But if we have a negative perspective about our government and its state agencies, we will never. And that's why the government, and this one, for me, I thank the current government of Uganda.
Mr. Cohen Amanya, no one is biased against the central government and the activities.
I mean the people.
The idea is that if there is no voter education, the people do not know what they're actually doing when they go to vote. They are asking for money. That's where I would like to indulge Captain Francis Babu. Money in our politics. People, when they go to the polls, they are asking for money, not asking the politician or aspirant what they will do for them in the next 5 years. The effect of this money, how do we remove it from our politics? Entice us with those details.
Thank you very much. We tend to waste our time on symptoms of something which is spoiled. What are these? See, these symptoms, everything which is being described are really symptoms.
A reaction to the
of something bigger. And the big problem is government itself. And I think the young lawyer here said it very well. But this is nothing new. It's nothing new. It's not only in Uganda. In a lot of countries which are developing democratically, they are building their nations. In building that nations, it's like building the Babel Tower. You reach a point when the languages become a problem.
And you clash.
We are having a problem of trying to get our people to understand. The people, by the way, don't underestimate the people who vote. They know.
They know.
And sometimes they do certain things deliberately because, as he said, they are extremely annoyed. Now, there is a man, Socrates.
Yes.
He said in his prediction, the democracy will fail. Because democracy must fall because it will try to tailor to everyone. The poor will want the wealth of the rich, and democracy will give it to them. Young people will want to be respected as elderly, and democracy will give it to them. Women will want to be like men, and democracy will give it to them. Foreigners will want the rights of the natives, and democracy will give it to them. Actually, we have foreigners among us who are also in leadership, who have become a nuisance. Thieves and fraudsters will want important government functions, and democracy will give it to them. And at the time when the thieves and fraudsters finally democratically take authority, because criminals and evildoers want power, there will be worse dictatorship than in the times of any monarchy and oligarchy. Why did I read this? Because a man, Lee Kuan Yew, in Singapore, he said the worst thing that can happen to a country is corruption.
True.
Now, corruption is not only taking money. Corruption is also involved in killing institutions. Corruption is also used to discourage talents. And some countries have had brain drain because the talents have gone away. Now, people who are in leadership should actually support the talents coming up to be better than them.
Yes, indeed.
A good leader makes other leaders better than himself.
Thank you.
And this is another problem we're having in this country. We hate each other. Instead of helping each other, we're fighting each other. And I'll give you an example where this becomes extremely important. When you hear the kind of comments people make, which are totally wrong. Now, I'll take my brother. When I was an MP, I used to hold seminars. I had 20 parishes.
Indeed.
I would take 5 parishes. I would invite experts from different places. First of all, the people of civic education, they would come and talk. The people of microfinance would come and talk to the people. And actually, it worked very well in my area. And we also built leadership. If you go back to my trail, you'll find that we've got leaders who came up because of this kind of thing that we did. So what is happening basically, and this is very unfortunate, we have a few people who are in leadership, not many, who are creating this problem. And I'll give you a very good example. In one of the elections, I was the candidate, and I went and told the NRM, please give us some money so that we can hold some seminars, not to give people money, but to hold seminars.
Yeah.
They said, no, we are not going to use money, and we're not giving you money. In one of the places where I was, that is near Nankulabi, a place called Bukesa, I had 300 people seated, and we were talking about what was going to happen. In other words, I was doing my civic education.
Indeed.
What happened? The guy came and said, what are you talking about? You have no money. I've just been in the roundabout in Nankulabi, and there are guys who are throwing 5,000 shillings note that we should choose NRM. And he got out the note and showed it to us. What had happened? There was a special office of His Excellency the President, and the people campaigning for him were taking money and throwing it near the market, not giving it to people, but throwing it up in the air. Now, that kind of thing shows you that there was a little bit of a problem in our system. We want to have the civic education he talked about, but other people are discouraging it. But the people who are doing these wrong things are so few. If we removed them, the country will work. They are very, very few. By the way, the people who create problem in your area, in our area, if you check very carefully, in the whole of the elections in Uganda, there are not many. We had what, 72? They said 72,000 electoral areas? How many got spoiled? 10? 20? Okay, let's say they were about 20%. So the rest are okay. They had good elections. What do we do with this 20%? What sort of methods do we use to change them? The only method we have is to try to cajole them, at the same time have some sort of education, and get them to wake up, not to hate each other. And I would like to warn the leadership, and very seriously, you must have civic education. It's never late. Let people get to know why they're electing. For example, why am I electing a member of parliament? As a citizen.
True.
What does a member of parliament do for me? A member of parliament, according to the constitution, has got 2 or 3 functions. One is to legislate. All right? That's number one. Number two, to go there and pass a yearly budget. And after that, follow it. Oversight. The other one is to be the link between us and all the organizations that help us in our constituency.
I see.
For example, he will talk to the district people, so that they can do our roads, our water, and so on and so forth. He will be able to connect us to environment. So our leader is not supposed to be the one to do these things. He's supposed to be the bridge between us and government. So basically, you tell the people why you are. This is the man or woman who is going to do this for us. Do you think he has got the capacity to do it?
That is Captain
Full step.
Francis
That
Babu.
is civic education.
Thank you very much, Captain Francis Babu. Of course, before we go for another break, I do have a submission from Mr. Rwashande and also Amanya. He mentions that fear is the reason why these individuals are using money, because if they focus on their manifestos and their value, they will not be voted. So they rather use that money. Talk to us about that. What is your
Before he goes on, there are people in government who say, don't worry about it. They don't have money. They have made some little money. Now they have become big people. We've got money. This one don't have money. No, that's nonsense. In my opinion, total hogwash.
How does that disintegrate our democratic processes here in Uganda?
Before I tackle that one,
Kindly.
I would like to first state it that the development of a society is not by the virtue of what we see. That is the construction of the road, is the construction of what, but it is instilling dignity in the people, dignity, trust in the people of what exactly you are doing. When you talk about electoral commission, I look at the electoral commission and I look at the government. How should, what confuses all this that is technical. It is data control or management. When we come to data control management, it is very unfortunate that even where we have reached as a country, we cannot control our data. I don't see the reason why NRM should, or this government, or Electoral Commission should have registers. We can look for the way how we can deal with our data. When you go to look for any data, let's say you personally in this country, when you go to UNEP, you'll find you have a different data. When you go to UBOS, they have a different data.
NIRA.
When you go to NIRA, you have a different data. Electoral Commission, totally different. The only way we can deal with our voting process is by dealing with our data. How? Making NIRA making NIRA or bring out any agents that can control our data, so that in case you're going for voting, then it is easy for you to vote, rather than having registers that they can deal with and manipulate. And that is, if you're born, you're registered. If you die, you're again registered. Even some people are denied of their rights of voting, because sometimes you find tomorrow is voting, and someone has turned 18 years today. Then he will not vote because he's not in the register. So dealing with our data system, it is very important when it comes to electoral process.
That is Ezra Rwashande saying data is being used by the central government to manipulate numbers. Thank you so much, sir. And he also says keeping people in the dark is also a ruse by the government to actually do their things behind the scenes. Kindly, Amanya, I do have my reporter who is on standby at the FDC ready to give us an update. Let's wrap up with your submission. You've heard what their positions. What is your position as we wrap up? Money in politics.
I want to differ with my colleague on the issues to deal with the data. Because one, for you to be able to deal with the data, there is what we call data. Because if we synchronize the whole data, that means all state agencies must have your data. And you see, at the end of the day, we as Ugandans, me inclusive, we are very skeptical about the use of our data. First of all, if we are to go by the issue of data, URA gets your data. Most of our members have refused to pay taxes, and they don't want their data
time.
Thank you very much, but what I want to say is, it is a collective responsibility for all of us to make sure that we make our Uganda, and that's why the National Resistance Movement, the NRM, and the government is trying hard to make sure that they do everything for Ugandans.
Thank you so much.
That's why for me, I support the government and the president. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Cohen Amanya, Ezra Rwashande, and our elder Captain Francis Babu. Once again, my condolences. Thank you for coming through.